Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Portadown Preview Show. I'm Neil, and this week we have a substitution for Portadown as Jonny Dunlop is replacing Dave Wiggins. So Jonny, thanks very much for stepping in. You have big shoes to fill, no pressure.
I know I feel a wee bit like when Ronnie tried to replace Gary McCutcheon with Neil Taggart, but I'm hoping that I'll put in a better performance than that. Maybe be a bit like Paul Rickers, and maybe just come in, float about here for half the show, and then back into the unknown, never to be heard of again.
Well, that's one analogy. Like today, we are delighted to be joined by former Portadown midfielder Neil McCafferty. Neil, thanks very much for taking the time to come on the show. How are you?
Oh, good lads, thank you. Anytime. I'm very good, as you know. I've been up at Shamrock Park and I've been at Stangmore and been down at the showgrounds at Coleraine the last sort of month, watching as many games as I can and just trying to get out and about. I think everybody's the same. I'm sick of being at home and going to kill me. You know, one of my kids or one of the one end's going to kill me. I think the wife even enjoys me going out on a Saturday now the whole day to get rid of me for a while.
Brilliant. We're listening to you on commentary there the other week down at Shamrock Park for the game against Ballymena, and obviously this week we're going to be looking back at the Ballymena game and looking ahead to Dungannon and then Carrick Rangers, and then you yourself, obviously you played for Portadown, you played for Ballymena, and you played for Dungannon, so you're the ideal candidate to talk about those teams.
I think what you're saying there is I'm a bit of a journeyman. I played for half of the league. I've worked around 5 out of 12 I've played for. You stick in Coleraine and Warren Point, there you go. That's near enough 50% of the league.
Well, here, listen, you have 142 appearances for Portadown, and that includes scoring against Dungannon at one stage. So, I mean, we're happy with that.
We definitely had a good few results against Glenavon over the 4 years that I was there. We had a good team. I wish we should have achieved more when you look back. If you look at the squad that we had and the players, I think the problem was we only had maybe about 14 players, no really good players, and then behind us wasn't that many. So we picked up a few injuries. It really killed us at times, and people like McCabe, obviously, when he left halfway through the season, we were flying one year. That didn't help, but I really enjoyed my time in Portadown. Good people at the club, great club, and me and Ronnie didn't always see ADA, as everybody knows, but hey, I stayed with me for 4 years.
Yeah, I think that's a common theme with quite a few people, is it not? But maybe that's a story for another day. Listen, we'll get straight into it then. Obviously, on Saturday there, Portadown were playing away to Ballymena United up at the showgrounds to beat 2-1. Neil, what do you make of the result there? Ballymena have been on a good run of form. They're a very good side. I don't think they get enough credit that they should do. Portadown, obviously it beat Glenavon the week before and also got beat by them. Where do you see the two sides at the minute, and what did you make of the result last Saturday?
Well, I think the game I was at, obviously, it was at Shamrock Park, and it was Ballymena Portadown too, and there wasn't much in the game. Do you know what I mean? I just think a little bit of experience. I think it was it Luke Wilson maybe got through 1-on-1 with the keeper, and Glendinning saved it, and the next thing Ross scores a goal, wasn't it? It was Guy actually got through in a 1v1 and missed, and then Ross scores a winner. And over the 2 games, I didn't see the game on Saturday, but Ballymena are a decent side. They have good experience in the league. Davey always has that around him, and obviously I think at the minute, they're nearly Ballymena. There's probably 3 groups in the league: the top 4 or 5, then there's a middle group of 3, and then there's probably the bottom group of Carrick, Dungannon, Warren Point, and Portadown. Portadown at the minute, Tippy kind of knows it. If you can try and fight to make sure you're maybe top of that little league, that's more important. But I think Ballymena were struggling, and then they beat Portadown at Shamrock Park, and then they went on. I think that they beat Glentoran, and then they beat Portadown again. So they beat Clifton. Was it Cliftonville they beat in between?
They drew with Larne as well in that run. But I think they did get a result against Cliftonville. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
and obviously then they beat us as well.
The league's just weird, and at times, Coleraine are on an unbelievable run, and Linfield were struggling a little bit, and then 2 big ones in a week. It's just about, I think we put it down a good one against Glenavon, and could they go back to back, against Glenavon, or even take 6 from 9, and they haven't. But Tippy knows what it's about at the minute. They need to add a little bit more experience going on the next year. Everyone has a free hit this year because there's no relegation. But I'm sure Tippy will be looking this week to go to Dungannon, which is another one of my ex-clubs, and I think this is a big game for both clubs. So both clubs will be thinking this is a big opportunity for 3 points, and if Tippy takes 3 points on Saturday, 6 out of 12 within 2 weeks, I think he'd be happy enough with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive game this Saturday. You were saying there, obviously it's a free hit this season. Do you think not having relegation affects the performances of the teams in and around the bottom, the likes of Portadown, Warrenpoint, Carrick, Dungannon? Or do you think it's an opportunity to express yourself?
I think it's a bit of both. I think the players won't feel the pressure because maybe the pressure is not as much from the managers, from what I can see as usual. Everybody knows relegation is a big thing, and players will leave. Your budget gets cut big time. You don't get them trips to Windsor next year. Or Linfield coming to your club. But hopefully, when the fans are back, big fans coming, and Glentoran now are probably going to bring big fans. Now look at this year. There's 3 or 4 teams you really think they have a chance for the league. Well, in the last week it's probably changed, but there will be huge crowds going to these games because so many teams think they have a chance to win the league. So it's a free hit on the basis of if you're going to try things out and you're going to test young players, it's the right time to do it because there's no pressure to see who is good enough, who maybe needs to move on, and what you need for next season, and what positions, what experience you need, what you need to replace. But I just think managers and players, they still want to win games, and nobody wants to finish bottom no matter what. You don't want to, as you say, you don't want to have that feeling of Portadown finish bottom, then having people saying, "Oh, you should have been relegated," or Dungannon finishing bottom, and people telling them, or Carrick or Warrenpoint. So nobody wants to finish bottom.
Yeah, Johnny. Obviously, we've talked there about the Ballymena game. We'll get straight to the controversial moment. Do you think it was a penalty?
I can see why the referee gave it, but it's one of those things that happens dozens of times. Matches, if you do it once, you're giving penalties like that 7, 8 times a match. It was a really, really soft penalty. I don't think it was a penalty, in all honesty. I think Portadown have been rather, unlucky over the past couple of weeks. If you look at the 2 penalties up at the showgrounds against Korean, don't think there were penalties. Undone there again on Saturday by a dodgy decision. I was lucky enough to be up the showgrounds at the match on Saturday, and Portadown more than matched Ballymena, I thought, for most of the game, and we're good enough for the draw. One player, Shane McCartan for Ballymena, makes all the difference for me. I think he's a brilliant player. When doing the social media stuff, I've been lucky enough to be at most matches this season, and Shane McCartan has stood out to me more than any player that I've seen this season. The ball just seems to stick to his feet, and he just seems to be able to dance around players and everything. And I thought he was the difference on Saturday. He scored a brilliant free kick, but I'd say I thought we were good enough for a point up at Ballymena all day long, and we're sort of done. Even the free kick for Shane McCartan's goal, I thought was a dodgy enough decision as well. Just think we're not getting the rub of the green these days with decisions like that.
I see the penalty. It was never a penalty. Ridiculous. When he played it back to the keeper and he stuck his arm out slightly. Come on. I was at the Dungannon game against Coreen too. Roy Carroll punched the ball clearly. He did make contact slightly with the player, but I always thought 90% of the time referees give a kick out for a player jumping on their referee. So Shane McCartan was the difference in the Shamrock Park game as well. He's a good player.
For supporters of a certain vintage, he reminds me when I was going to watch Portadown games in the early 90s. Used to be a player played for Linfield, Lindsay Curry, and Shane McCartan just reminds me of Lindsay Curry. He was short and stocky, but he got the ball at his feet and you couldn't get it off him, and he would just have danced around players. And Shane McCartan just puts me in mind of him. But Shane McCartan's been the difference in the 2 games. You take Shane McCartan out of that Ballymena game, those games, Portadown now have got, I think, 2 deserved draws at that.
Yeah, no, he's a very, very good player, and it'll be interesting to see if Ballymena can get into the top 6, and they do have a chance of it. And if they're going to get into the top 6, he's obviously their star man to maybe get them there. But I see the penalty. I thought it was harsh, but I just knew as soon as he put his arm out, I was like, this is going to be a penalty. I just knew, like, it's just as soon as the motion started, I was like, oh, this is going to end badly. And I just knew as soon as he went down, I was like, this is going to go against us here. I thought it was stupid. Like, it's soft. Like, it's a really soft penalty, but I just thought it was giving the ref the opportunity to give a penalty. And I was just like, oh. And we shot ourselves in the foot, I thought, because we actually had been, as you say, we were good value for a point at that stage. Like, and I just sort of thought it knocked the wind out of our sails when that happened. But
that's the
it's
difference.
just one of them things.
Silly mistakes. No, I understand. He played the ball to the keeper, and I think he thought, oh my God, I played it too short. So automatically, he didn't play it that firm. I think it still would have got there, but he thought maybe the forward player could get a chance to get it. So he's panicked, put his arm out. I still don't. It's not enough. Like, no, if I put my arm out like that and you're running past it, no, a full body at a good pace, you just knock it out of the way. It's not like if he had grabbed him and got a hold of his shirt and pulled him, but he didn't. He just sort of done that, put it in front of him. It's harsh, like it is harsh.
I think the Ballymena players made the most of it as well. You know, he's went down as if he's been clotheslined.
Aye. You do see that now too, because there's no crowd. See the shouts of the players, the referees are hearing them and giving decisions far quicker. No, see if you go down as a tackle, see if there's a crowd and you can hear the noise in the background, you'll not hear the tackle as much. Where now you can hear everything, you can hear a scream, you hear it on TV all the time in the Premier League. Players screaming. Bruno Fernandes is unbelievable. He screams about 10 times a game and he gets a free kick constantly for it because the referee hears him and just goes, free kick.
Yeah, no, it's an agree. I think it's very soft, and there's been a couple of questionable decisions in the Irish League in general this season. It's weird the way the game's going. It seems to be now that even so much as any contact and a free kick or a penalty is given. But I thought it was harsh, but I knew it was going to be given. It was just offering the opportunity for it to happen, but it's one of them things.
I think too, when you look at it, the amount of changes that Tippy made for Saturday as well, you know, Portadown were more than worthy of a draw. And when you look, you had no Greg Hall, you had no Paul Finnegan, you know, you had no Eamon Scannell. You know, he made wholesale changes, and still that team could have held Ballymena, who's challenging for, you know, for a top 6 place, to a draw. So, you know, this was really unlucky.
Yeah, Neil, whenever you were at the match the other week there against Ballymena, was there any particular Portadown players that stuck out for you? Because at the minute, obviously, you have to use your squad, like, so obviously there's been players in and out between that time. So does anyone stand out for you in particular?
Yeah, well, no, before the game, I had a chat with Tippy and he talked to me about bonus and stuff. He actually had a bad game, to be honest, that game. And I can tell he's a good size, he's a good physique, he has good pace. He's got all the raw attributes to be a good striker in this league, like, and even a chance to go a bit further. He needs to get more goals. I actually, like that day in particular, was it Tilney? Is he on loan from Larne?
Yeah,
he was very good that day. What I like about him, he roams about. He just goes and gets the ball wherever. You know, he played in the left, they'll go to the right. He receives the ball in the half turn, and he likes to go forward constantly. I think that the main player that I liked that day would have been him. And I know he's on loan, and I know it's going to be hard to keep a player like that. I know he's got good experience playing in England for a long time as well. But that day, I think he was the one that I thought was the best player for Portadown. And I don't think Portadown played particularly well that day. And spoke to Tippy after the game, and he was like, well, that's probably the worst we've played in a long time, to be fair. He was really disappointed with the performance that day, because I know Ballymena had a few out, and Ross Redmond played centre half with young boy Hare, who's not even a centre half. There was a big chance there for Sally and Bonus. They really put their stamp on the game. I thought physically they could have dominated them and should have that day. And I think I was talking before you came on, Neil, with Johnny, that with young players, the most consistent thing that you get with a young team is inconsistency. And I think Tippy can live with the results, but if he just wants to get a performance level that he knows he's going to get from the boys every week, and he'll be happy with that, because if you do that, the results will come. But at the minute, there's a wee bit like up and down with the performances, and that's probably the most frustrating thing for him at times. He needs these young players to step up and show him that they can perform consistently in this league, because it's not an easy league. And I know a lot of them, I was talking to Johnny or before you come on, if you look at the team, is there a player with over 100 league games in the Irish League? There's not many, if any. And people don't realise that's you need experience in this league. It's a fans' league, and it's not easy. Like,
yeah, I couldn't agree more so with what you're saying there. Speaking of performances, obviously this week we're going to need a big performance because we're playing Dungannon, which is a 6-pointer essentially. Neil, what do you make of Dungannon this season? Obviously they're down at the bottom there. They just changed the manager there. They brought in Dean Shields. They brought in a fair few new players. Roy Carroll, Rory Patterson. What do you make of them this season, and how do you see Saturday going? Like, is it? Well, you sort of allegiances to both teams here, like, so not maybe not pressing for a score, but what do you think?
I'll be honest about it. I think when I seen both teams play, I looked at both teams and thought straight away my first of no was, geez, both teams are so young, so inexperienced at this level, and they're giving young players a chance, and some of them are good enough, maybe not ready yet, some of them, but they have to play because that's just, as you say, there's that many games at the minute. It's Saturday, Tuesday constantly, so you have to use your squad. You have to give young players a chance. I think, Dungannon are struggling at the minute. They've obviously, Chris Lindsay left, actually took over for a while, and they brought Dean in, and I think Dean will put a stamp on the way he wants to play. I think he'll want to play out from the back. He'll want to play, get the ball forward, but he'll do it in stages. It'll not be going long. It'll not be the old Irish League style that we're probably used to, that I played in, when you've watched for years. It's, Larne have changed that style, and Glentower are trying to do it, Linfield, and I think Dean will do that. It's going to take time. He needs these experienced players to play well for him, and I was up at the game against Coleraine, and they done really well. Just Ben Doherty scored an absolute worldie to win the game to make it 3-2. My big mate, obviously, Rory, got his first goal. I think he's going to have a big part to play and trying to help these young boys coming through as well. It's going to be a tight game. Obviously, I know Portadown went there earlier on the season and beat them 3-0 comfortably. I think it'll be a little bit different than that. There'll be a bit of nerves too. I think both teams know this is a big chance, and they need if Portadown can win, they're putting Dungannon, what is it, 6 points in? 6 points is a lot when you have more games this year. But Dungannon, I think if we won, we're right back in the mix here to not make sure we don't finish bottom. So it's going to be a tight game. What it's going to come down to is which players turn up on the day. As I said, both teams have been so inconsistent. Who can turn it on the day? Can Bonus turn it on, or maybe Sally, or can my mate Rory turn it on and score a goal or roll the years back a bit, and a few of the young lads turn up? I think that's what it's going to come down to. Be a good game though.
Yeah, you're saying there about Rory Patterson. He's certainly a colourful character. I know this is a bit off the cuff. Did you by any chance listen to the podcast that you've done recently?
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah,
I didn't see it all. He sent me it on WhatsApp, and I listened to it. It was long, like.
Yeah, well, it's my friend, one of my best mates. It's actually him that does the podcast, and he had on, and I listened to it. Yeah, and I actually thought it was very, very good and really refreshing. Rory's answers, because he was effing and blinding and just telling
so
the truth.
Honest. He's always been like that. People.
Yeah, it was fascinating. Yeah, it was fascinating listening to his story. So, it was just funny because the podcast got released, and then it had been recorded a few weeks before, and there was no mention of Dungannon, I don't think. And then literally, the Dungannon move came out of nowhere, like a few days later after it was released. Which is like, geez, wasn't expecting that. So, no, quality player, and hopefully he has an off game on Saturday. Jonny, obviously, you said, you've been to a lot of games this season, and you saw them firsthand and stuff. What do you make of Dungannon this season, and what do you think Portadown need to do on Saturday to try and get the 3 points?
I was up at Dungannon earlier on. It was before Christmas. They won 3-0 up at Stangmore.
Yeah.
And it was a tight game up until about a minute or two before half time when Stephen Taggart had a corner and it went straight in. And Portadown managed to get the second goal not long after half time. And that sort of gave Portadown a cushion. Dungannon Swifts missed a penalty as well. Ben Pearce saved. I'm not sure who missed the penalty for Dungannon. It was Michael Carville, missed the penalty for Dungannon. And the game could have turned on its head very handy after that penalty miss, and then Portadown went on and got a third and won it comfortably. I agree with Neil that it's going to be a really tight game. I'm always a bit wary of the new manager bounce. So it always scares me a wee bit. But listen, if the likes of Lee bonus, I think it'll take a bit of magic from somebody. Somebody like if Lee turns up and turns it on, and I think whoever gets the first goal, I think it'll be a confidence thing as well, because both teams don't have any wins this season, and they're both young teams. And I think the first goal will tell the tale. It'll give that team confidence to possibly go on and take control of the game. I can't see it being another 3-0 for Portadown, but I can see Portadown winning. I think it'll be a lot tighter. There's been a lot of comments about Dean's early matches managing Dungannon, that they tried to play football, tried to play it the right way, trying to play it out from the back and stuff. But it mightn't always come off. But he wants to try and play football, which Tippy also wants to do as well. I think both clubs are probably on the same path at the minute regarding young, inexperienced players, trying to bring in their own players, trying to get those inexperienced players a wee bit more experience. But I think it'll be tight. It'll be won by the odd goal, if they can hopefully it's a red shirt that scores that goal.
Yeah, well, let's certainly hope so. As I said, it is a massive game for both teams, and I'm sure Dungannon will be going into this game as well. Maybe thinking Portadown are there for the taking because of our sort of, as you say, we're sort of consistently inconsistent. So Dungannon will be looking at this and going, here we have a chance as well here. So it's going to be interesting to see which way the two teams approach it. Do they go for it, or is it a bit cagey? Who blinks first, or what? What are you expecting in that aspect?
I think it will be. I know. When you're going to a game and teams haven't won many games, there's not going to be first minute free flowing football. People taking chances at the back and playing. Dungannon will try to play. I think it depends well at Portadown, press them really high and see how good they are playing out. So I think that's going to be a big tactical thing. With if you're not winning games, and I know they did really well. Actually, here they did okay up at Linfield. They were beat 2-0, but they played well actually and created quite a few chances. So I think they are creating the chances. And we made a few changes. There'll be a different team probably on Saturday, I presume. I think there'll be a few coming in who got a wee bit of a rest on Tuesday, knowing this game was coming. But I think Dean's had an easy start. I think this is a game that he's going to look at and go, right, this is my chance as manager to get a first win. And Tippy will be thinking the same. They're going to play with my back. I know what I would do anyway as a coach, and Tippy will probably the same. I'll press as high as I can and see how good they are at it, see if we can nick it and round their box. And if you do, you have a great chance to score. But again, first goal is going to be massive. If you're not winning games, Dungannon haven't won in a long time. Portadown have won one, I think, in their last 8 games maybe, or something like that, 10 maybe. So first goal is going to be massive. It will be cagey. It'll probably come down to, as Johnny said, a wee bit of magic, or probably more likely to me, who makes a mistake, rather than who makes a first mistake, whether it's a silly penalty or someone gives it away in a pass back, or somebody being a bit casual at the back and somebody nick in and do something. I don't think both teams are creating loads and loads and loads of chances. So it's going to be a tight game. Just hope it's a good game. Both teams are going to, again, it's not as much pressure. There's no relegation, so there's no don't need to go out and defend and think Portadown, now we get a point, we keep when we are. I think Tippy will won the game. And I think Dino won the game too. So you're just hoping for both teams to go for it. And again, I think whoever scores first probably wins the game. I don't think there's going to be many goals in it.
Yeah. This is completely off topic, but it's something that I got asked before, and I thought, right, well, far to you, saying you've played for both teams, and this is a debate that is quite rife in the Irish League. Which club between Portadown and Dungannon has the best burger van? Because the two of them get mentioned all the time. Surely you've had from both.
I'll be honest, I don't think I have. No, I'm not a burger van man. No.
What?
Honestly. Where? See, that's the difference between us athletes and you, do you know what I mean, Neil? Honestly, the Dungannon one, I've been up this year, I haven't seen any of them, but I can't remember even eating from either, if I'm being brutally honest. I can tell you which has a nicer pint. I can definitely tell you that.
No, I saw a Twitter poll before, and it was voting who's the best burger van, and it came down to Portadown and Dungannon. And a fair few people said that. To be fair, I'll say Portadown, obviously. Like, Johnny, what are you going for?
I have to stay loyal, Neil. Just go for Portadown. I'd love to be able to get a burger at the matches these days. You can't get on and have to bring your only foodie bag with you.
The thing is, touch wood, most of the time when I was there, I was playing or on the bench, and then if I wasn't, I didn't want to really be sitting eating a big burger, and everybody going, "I ain't on this one today."
Classy. Listen, fingers crossed Portadown can get 3 points on Saturday here, but that's the first of two massive games. Obviously, then on Tuesday we are playing away to Carrick Rangers. Johnny, you were at the 4-1 at Taylor's Avenue earlier in the season. I was there myself. It was a disaster, but I think we need to be a bit more lenient on the team because obviously the whole COVID situation around then. What do you reckon for next Tuesday? Me personally, I think it's a must-win game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you'd like to be, coming these two games that you would like to be winning. You manage to get points out of these two games, like you were saying earlier on. They're 2 6-pointers. You're able to pull away a wee bit from Carrick and Dungannon if you're able to get victories here. I'd love just to be able to beat Carrick. I can't remember the last time we beat Carrick. It maybe was in Neil's time. You just seem to have this hoodoo over us.
I don't even think they were in the league most of the time when I was there.
No, they just seem to have this hoodoo over us. Taylor's Avenue's a tough place to go. Even when we were going well, we struggled up at Taylor's Avenue. Remember Gary Twigg scoring a last kick of the ball penalty, which I think maybe was one of our last wins over Carrick. No, it's a difficult place to go. And I think too, with Portadown, this will be our second run of games against Dungannon and Carrick away from home. The teams that sort of in and around us. We haven't played any of them at Shamrock yet this season. It's going to be a tight game. Carrick were thumped there by Linfield on Saturday, or was it Saturday? It was. They lost to Larne on Tuesday night. Two big games, or two big teams anyway. You wouldn't have really expected Carrick to get on and out of them, but they were really hammered at Linfield, and they seem to be a wee bit in disarray at the minute. But again, I think it's going to be something similar to the Dungannon game. Although Carrick have a wee bit more experience about them, so they do. But I think again it'll be another tight game, and something similar to the Dungannon game. It'll come down to that bit of magic from somebody or somebody making a mistake. Who turns up on the day. It's sort of a different mentality for both teams as well, because Dungannon, Portadown and Carrick are going into most of the games this season as underdogs. It's only against the other probably that they're going in with maybe thinking, we can get a win here today, sort of thing. So I don't know what way that mentality comes into the game either. But again, I think it'll be a tight game, and I'm hoping Portadown come out on top.
Yeah, I think as well, Carrick are playing one of Neil's old teams, Coleraine, on Saturday, and you would expect Coleraine to beat them. Well, fingers crossed anyway. But right enough, you would expect Coleraine to beat them. So if say for talk's sake, Portadown were to beat Dungannon, the result at the Coleraine Showgrounds went our way, and then we would get a win at Carrick. I think it would put us in a really good place. But Neil, you were chatting there about, maybe sometimes Portadown lack a wee bit of experience. Johnny's mentioned now that Carrick have a bit of experience. What's your thoughts on them? They do seem to have maybe a couple of maybe older, more experienced heads in certain key positions, like the likes of Mark Surgener, Aaron Hogg and Nets. What are your thoughts on them?
I know they didn't pick up many points at all, and then he went through like a week and picked up something like 8 points and within five games or something, and then it's kind of turned again for them, and they've taken a few big hammerings. I think when you look at Dungannon and even you look at Portadown the last few weeks, they haven't taken any big hammerings. Portadown were unlucky twice against Ballymena 2-1 and should have got a result. Really, even the Dungannon Coleraine game, it's 3-2 and they were unlucky. They lost 2-0 at Linfield, which half of the time, nearly when you are Dungannon or Portadown at the minute, see, you go up there and you take 2-0, you nearly take it before you even get there. Where Carrick have taken 7, like Larne beat them 3, didn't they?
Yeah,
3-1. Was it? So they've conceded a lot of goals. It's massive. They Portadown beat Dungannon on Saturday. They go on to the Carrick game as big favourites for me because coming off a good one, more than likely I would think Coleraine will beat Carrick. So they've taken 4 or 5 big losses, maybe possibly could be in a row. But if Portadown don't win on Saturday, it becomes an even bigger game then going to Carrick where the pressure is on a wee bit where Dungannon have got 3 points depending on the Carrick results. So it'll all depend. I don't even think Tippy will think about Carrick. I don't think the players will be thinking about Carrick. The most important thing is Portadown need to get a result or try and get 3 points on Saturday. If they do that, the Tuesday game will take care of itself. I think Carrick too, they've signed experience, but there's that it's experience, and then there's me and Johnny were talking about it. It has to be the right experience, and sometimes there's players coming in who haven't played in the league in a while, and you'll get an initial 4 or 5 games out of them, and then the pace of the games, the pace of the league might be starting to catch up with a few of them now. These experienced players who maybe haven't or past 30 or haven't played in the league for a while, we're playing in other leagues that have stopped way before. So I think maybe that's the legs, the experienced players in Carrick team. I think a wee bit of it might be catching up on them. The season might be catching up on them, and the amount of games that's coming. It's Saturday, Tuesday every week. There's no stoppage. So I think that's Carrick's problem. I think they look a bit leggy. They've had a few injuries. So I think out of all teams, I think they'll be the one looking over the shoulder a wee bit, especially if they lose on Saturday and they go against Portadown and these. They'll definitely be the ones that I think could be struggling out of the 3 the most, out of the 4 teams the most.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. They have made some shrewd signings as well. Obviously, Catherfreeze came in and he made an impact for them. Early doors and that, like you were talking about, with the accumulated a fair few points. But like you said, I see. I like Johnny. You'll know it yourself. I find that Keelan Loughran gets in the Portadown players' heads, and he was winding the fans up and stuff, and he always seems to lift it against us. And do you know what I mean? Like I just think. I think I said it on the first previous show we did. We were due to play Carrick that Saturday, and obviously it got postponed. But I had said they need and just avoid any of that nonsense with Loughran because he's liable to get them sent off or something like that. And I think that's going to play a massive part because Carrick will be targeting this game. Niall Curry will. Obviously, there's the whole added incentive of being our ex-manager and stuff. But he has said before that in interviews that the games that matter for them are the games against the likes of Portadown, Warrenpoint, Dungannon. So they'll be targeting this game. And I know I've already mentioned the 4-1 before, but I find that obviously with the whole thing before with Niall being our ex-manager and stuff, that Carrick seemed to lift it against us. So I think, they'll be playing on that again, and he'll have a plan to try and get at us. I feel like when we go play them, that we try to play our game, but then we get, like I said, sort of with Loughran, we get dragged into, the sort of more physical side. And they even proved in the playoff a couple of years ago that they were better at that than we were. And if Portadown can just, settle, play their own game, and then fingers crossed we can get a win. And yeah, like it's a massive game. If, like Neil said already, if Portadown could get the win against Dungannon, would put us in a really good place going into this Tuesday against Carrick. But then, it would only take Carrick to get a good result against Coleraine, and they'll be buzzing as well. So it makes for an interesting few days. With games coming up and stuff, and fingers crossed Portadown can get 6 points. What do you think, Johnny? Are you confident of that?
I am, but I think both Carrick and Dungannon are going in with the same mentality as Portadown. I think all 3 teams think they're capable of beating each other on their day. Portadown's more than capable of getting the 6 points. I'd love to get the six points and think we can. With 2 points, would you take a draw from both games? I maybe would be happy with that as well. Depending how things go. You don't look.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I admit, on previous shows I sort of said a draw here is good, a draw there is good, but I think Portadown need to win these games, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's all well and good getting a draw against Larne and Crusaders and like Coleraine away, for example. But I think your bread and butter is you need to be beating your teams in and around you, and Portadown need to start winning a couple of games, even for confidence. And it means then, if say down the line you do lose a game against a bigger team, because rest assured after Carrick here we have some really hard fixtures coming up, really hard fixtures, and it's not inconceivable like for any team in the round the bottom that you could go a run of games of getting no points. So I think these two games are massive for Portadown. They're massive for all three teams. They're all playing against each other here. So I think this is an opportunity that Portadown, they need to get at least 4, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity. It's going to Stangmore and it's going to Taylor's Avenue. They're difficult places to go to. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to get 6 points. We're more than capable of getting 6 points. But would it be down in the dumps and totally inconsolable if we came away with a draw from both games? I probably wouldn't. But sure, we'll see what happens. I think, like you both said there, the Dungannon game is probably the bigger. You win that game, you hop on to Carrick full of confidence. You get beat at Dungannon. You go to Carrick maybe a bit down in the dumps as well. It's a tricky one. It's tough having the both games both together, both back to back as well. So it is. But here's hoping what you're a happy man on next Tuesday night, Neil.
I think for all three teams, I think each manager will look at it and go, if I can beat Dungannon away from home, then go and beat Carrick, it shows progression. Mm-hmm. He'll say, well, I'm proving that we're the best of the ones that we should be better than. We're better than them. No, we've taken 6 points. That's a big gap between them and Dungannon. Go ahead of Carrick, you're going after 1 point. So it's progression, and it shows the club, shows the fans, shows you, shows me. Right, Portadown are going places. They're in most games. They're very closely taking points off Ballymena twice within a couple of weeks. They go and beat Dungannon away. They beat Glenavon. They beat Carrick. So you're looking at 3. You're looking at 3 points, which is 9 points from 15. It shows progression. If you lose the 2 games, you're back to square one. Mm-hmm. And Dungannon, Dean will be saying, I need to win this game against Portadown to show that the way I'm playing is showing now we can put points on the board against teams close to us. And now Carew will be the same. So the first game's the most important. If you beat Dungannon at home, you'll probably more likely go and beat Carrick. See, if you lose at Dungannon and you lose badly, there's big pressure. You could end up losing to Carrick, and then, as you say, Neil, you're under pressure then. So it's all swings and roundabouts. The first game's the most important. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't face another defeated Carrick, to be honest. Honestly, it's been too long, and it's already obviously I have a lot of friends that are Carrick fans, and already the needles started already. You can sort of feel that the big game's coming up here. I really am hoping that.
I've lost there too. Actually, the pitch is a lot better now, though, wasn't it? When I played on it, there was a disgrace.
It is. To be fair, it's a tidy wee ground and all now. They've done a lot of work to in and around it, and the pitch itself, it used to be like that, but now it's.
I played in it in Coleraine one time. They beat us 2-1, and it was an absolute cow field, and it just suited them. And we wanted to play a bit, and that's how they got results. Then, you know what I mean? And that's maybe now the pitch is good, the facilities are good, everything's there. There's no excuses anymore. So if Portadown go down and they're the better football team, and they just have to match them physically. That's what Carrick will try and do. They'll try and make it physical and bully. The senior players in the Carrick team will try and physically bully the Portadown team, and that's how they'll get the result. If Portadown can deal with that initially, early, and play their football, they should win the game.
See, on terms of progression, I can really see Portadown have progressed as the season has went on. Early season, Coleraine came up to Shamrock and won 3-0, comfortably won 3-0. We got gubbed 5-0 at Crusaders. We got gubbed 5-0 at Cliftonville. Took that heavy defeat away to Carrick as well. Now, I know in regards to the Carrick game and the Cliftonville game, there was the circumstances where a lot of the team had COVID or recovering from COVID and things like that. But I think, I don't know how anybody can say, I know some people think there hasn't been much progression. I think we have progressed so much as the season has went on. From them games that go into Seaview and stuff to now, we're competing in every game, and we're not that far away. You know, we went up to Coleraine a couple of weeks ago and we're beat 2-0 by, we spoke about it earlier on, 2 dodgy penalty decisions, because easily have had a draw there. Easily could have got the 2 draws against Ballymena, and we're competing in every game, and we're not that far away towards, you know, at the start of the season, where I think, you know, it was a young team, as Neil sort of said there. Barely any of them have many top Premiership games under their belt, and they've really progressed as the season has went on, and they've grew into themselves and believe in themselves more, I think, now. You know, they know they can compete, and they're not far away, and that's come with that experience and believing in themselves. And I think there's been great progression from the Portadown team that run out of Shamrock the first game of the season and will come to be 3-0 by Coleraine to the team now. I think Portadown feel they can compete against anybody at the minute. They maybe not getting the wins, but they're certainly not far away, and they've really bridged that gap from the start of the season.
And this is the perfect opportunity to bridge the gap now in the next 5 or 6 days. So, and Tippy will be telling them that he's been competitive against teams in the top 6. Teams like Coleraine, Ballymena, beat Glenavon comfortably once. We're unlucky in the next game, and now he's the chance. So this is a big. I think Tippy will tell the players that, and we get into Saturday knowing this is a big run of 3 or 4 days. If you play well, get a good result Saturday, then you can kick on. So the players know they're getting better, as you say, they're being more competitive. But picture if they can pick up 6 points or pick up 4 points, even they'll go into them tough games that are coming, Neil, and think, you know what, we can get the performance. They've been getting the performances against the big teams, but now can they go and get a result against Coleraine or a result against Alarm or Crusaders or Linfield or Glentoran? And that's what you need. Trust me, ones brings confidence in anybody, whether you're a young player or a senior player. So they just need a few extra points on the board to really kick on and finish well.
Well, here's hoping that we can bridge the gap, like you said, and get 2 wins. Before we wrap up, Johnny, noted you're wearing quite a nice retro shirt from the 90s there, with a big Tato badge on it there. Like, that's a classic there. We appreciate our shirts on this show, so that brings back a few memories. I went for the 3rd shirt from 2005. It was only worn a handful of times, like, so.
I
remember that.
From 97 or 98, and I've only twigged on that
the white collar.
The players had white collar.
Yeah.
I've only twigged on this is red collar.
Yeah, no, yeah, I remember them being brought out, and then the players had the white collar. But no, you're right. Yeah, I've noticed that myself before. Like, so
I was nearly gonna. It was a toss up between this one or the royal blue Adidas one from the mid 2000s, like Glenavon blue. Wait
2 seconds. Wait 2 seconds. Is it this one?
It was that one. And then I thought to myself, you know, we played Ballymena last week. We're playing Dungannon this week. I can't be wearing a blue shirt here with fingers crossed.
Who was that? Peter McCann?
Peter McCann, yeah.
Because Mark McCann was playing at that time as well, so they put P and M before, was it?
Yeah. No, I thought tonight I thought I'd go for an away shirt because we'll be playing an away kit against Carrick, and obviously Dave has said plenty of times before about he wants the white kit bin because we always get beaten it. So maybe we'll wear purple again on Tuesday here. So listen, thanks very much to the Perrys for coming on. Johnny, cheers. And for anyone that hasn't aware of this already, Johnny does a very good wee Word Ports special, you know, on YouTube and Spotify with former Portadown players. So check that out. Neil, thanks very much for coming on the show. It's been great having you, and I'm sure we'll hear you over doing a bit of commentary every so often now during the season.
I said to Dave, no, anytime he wants me up. I know McCabe. I was actually texting Shane last week. He was telling me he went up and done it too. So it's good to get out. I think we all just enjoy going to the games and seeing live games. Like, it's great to just see a live game again. It feels like a lifetime since I've seen one. Do you know what I mean? So I'll be back up at Shamrock definitely, and I'll be up at Stangmore, and I'll definitely be down the showgrounds too. As I say, I play for half the league, so I can visit. There's still people there that I know and get on all right with.
You're welcome with open arms at many places. Listen, before I go, I better say before I forget, don't forget to subscribe to Real Reports TV YouTube channel and check it out on Spotify as well. So I think we'll wrap it up there, fellas. Thanks very much for coming on, and fingers crossed 6 points for Portadown over the next 2 games.
Cheers, lads, and good luck.
Thank you. Bye.